So Vic, what were you like in high school? What were you like as a little teeny bopper?
Ooh, a little teeny Vic. Okay. Well, little teeny Vic was super into Joan Jett. She had a major obsession. She dyed her hair black. She had a whole moment where she was like, I'm gonna start a girl band and I'm gonna play guitar for the rest of my life. Yeah, she was so cute and she loved to create.
You were a cool bitch in high school. You would have bullied me.
Hey, I would not have. Oh my gosh. How dare you say who?
Yeah.
What were you like as a little teen Koo?
I was annoying, okay? I had undiagnosed ADHD. I was spiraling out of control. I had impulse issues. Every single morning I would hop onto the bus and I would be singing that song from Singing in the Rain. I'd be like, it's like 5 a.m. Everyone's like asleep and I'm like, good morning, good morning. And everyone's like, shut the up. Huge theater nerd.
Because I feel like in the same breath, she would have like opened me up a bit and been like, I would have been like, good morning with my guitar and I'd be like, good morning, today's a brand new day.
Vic, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like I'm more of like the corruptor in our real life relationship, where I feel like Lupe was the corruptor for Sunny.
I feel like roles are a bit reversed here.
I think so too. Okay, I was gonna say, I didn't want to say it, but I think you're right.
No, it's true because I think you're so right in the sense, and not being super, if we go super, like we're not exactly like them, but if you kind of bring out the qualities of what Lupe does with Sunny is, she tries and gets her out of her body, she wants her to open up. And I think that Kuhoo does that for me. And then I think that maybe sometimes like I'm kind of like, I internalize and then I like will just be like, this is happening to me. And just by the way, I had a breakdown and that was it. And so anyway, it's cool. It's great.
You ground me because like I spiral out of control all the time and I'm just like, it's too much. And so Vic just like balances me out and is like, actually, it's all completely fine. And I'm your mother.
I'm your mother from another life. Hello. Koo, do you remember having a sexual health or sex ed class in high school? And what was that experience like if you did or didn't?
Yeah. Okay, number one, why are all high schools in the universe, maybe this is not true, but why are all high schools in the universe, the sex ed classes are always taught by like the bald male gym teacher? Like I don't understand why that's always the thing. That's what it was for us. And it's like sex ed went hand in hand with the toxic masculinity of like, I'm a football coach, these are my boys. And like transferring that into like reproductive health suddenly became like, boys, go get that poon. Women, I'm not referring to you at all. Which was so confusing and so like erasing so many people in the room. Yeah, so my experience of it was just very much like all geared toward the dudes pretty much all the time. What about you, V Money?
V Money says that I, after 7th grade, I was homeschooled. So it was from a book. I didn't have like a full on quintessential sex ed class. And so I kind of just like read it and took it as I would. And yeah, it was kind of pretty boring, to be honest with you. What we were talking about in our friend groups and socially wasn't reflecting what we were learning. And that as a young person, I was like, why am I not learning, how to truly be safe in education?
Sex ed is like porn now. And like, that's such a scary thing. And like, I'm not anti-porn at all, but it's like, it needs to go hand in hand with also some other sources because porn is just a highly like specific aesthetic and a highly, it's not everything. It's not all of the angles that we need to be acknowledging. So Vic, in this like large road trip quest, what part felt like the most fun to you? What resonated with you the most in this road trip?
Turning on some jams and getting down to some music. We both by the way, haven't seen the film, but during the filming of rapping the Christian rap scene, that was super fun for us because we went hardcore in learning it and we wanted to go all out. And I feel like that's something, you know, that you naturally do in these long road trips. It makes it so much more fun. So it made it super real for me.
God, like those days in the car are such a blur to me. It feels like so little of the movie, even though it's so much of the movie. But I would say probably the rapping and also tossing snacks to each other. This is an acting class thing of like, if you're eating in front of a camera, it like naturally loosens you up and makes you feel like in your body. So I'm like, it's impossible to like not be yourself and be natural when you're like having snacks thrown into your mouth and your face. So that felt really nice too. Vic, what kind of conversations did you have with Nat about Lupe and about your character?
I mean, we had really kind of extensive conversations about what Sunny and Lupe were going through and what their dynamic was like. But specifically for Lupe, you know, I felt like it was really encouraging for me as an actor to have somebody on the other side of the camera to relate and connect with Lupe as a human. And so I think that a lot of that was really helpful in Natalie's conversation and communication with me. I was really invested in Lupe being a really well-rounded person, but also, you know, she has like some deflections in her humor and stuff like that. So I felt like most of the conversations were just finding what was natural and comfortable for her in the moment and in this, you know, moment in time where you meet them. What about you, Kuhoo?
Yeah, I think I tricked myself a little bit because of the representation that I do see of Indian girls and women in media and lack thereof. I think I was having trouble fully committing to and understanding that it is okay for Sunny to be a horny person and to like want parties and want boys and want this high school experience. And I just kind of had to keep reminding myself that it's okay to do this. And whenever I checked in with Natalie about it, she was like, this is a rated R movie. She starts off having sex against a bathroom sink. Remember that. Remember who you were in high school. Remember who you were in middle school and how badly you wanted these things and how unfettered that was and how joyous that exploration of sex was. And leaning into that a little bit more instead of just leaning into just the shame part of it, which is the like kind of emotional trauma porn that we usually see with women of color sometimes in sexual shame. So balancing those two things. Did you ever have a plan B as far as like if acting and performing didn't work out or if it's something that you decided you didn't want for your lifestyle?
I think I had ideas. Like I said, young Vic wanted to start a girl band and all girl band and be a rock star. You know, that essentially that was my dream plan B. My aunt is a curandera and she's a healer. So I've always felt really drawn to helping people in that way and going into more of the healing arts. And so that was kind of, you know, I feel like story is medicine. And so I knew that, you know, I was drawn to giving medicine to some people in some way. And this kind of happens to be the form that I'm giving it in. But I think that I maybe would have found a different way to give it to people. What about you, Kuhoo?
Yeah, I'm not going to take the easy way out because I'm also like a musician, but I'm not going to take the easy way out. I'm going to say if I was not a musician, not an actor, not anything in that kind of field, that industry, then, I did want to be a lawyer for a hot sec. And like bring people to justice. Like I'm a Libra and balance and justice is very important to me. So I was thinking about doing that or being an investigative journalist. But also my grandfather is a saint and people from around the world go and visit his ashram to find healing and working through their traumas through kind of like an optimistic mindset. And so I think that like meditation is very important to me and spiritual healing is very important to me as well and runs in my family. So yeah, probably a mix of the two, a mix of like how do I bring people to justice through optimism.
Kuhoo, what do you think little Kuhoo, teen Kuhoo would think about what you're doing now? And if you could kind of see yourself through a looking glass now, what would that be like?
It makes me actually greatly emotional because she would be so shocked. She would be so proud that I made it this far in my journey of joy and that like I allowed myself to be happy for the first time in a long time. I think that she would just be very thankful that there's like some light at the end of the tunnel. What about Lil Vic?
think little Vic would, she'd probably scream her head off. You know, I think that I've had a hardcore, you know, I have a journal of me being like 10 years old and saying that I want to be an actor. And so I think that, you know, she would just smile and say like, we did it. Like we're continuing to try and do something that we love and tell stories in like a meaningful way. And then I think that, yeah, it makes me emotional too.
I know. I'm like trying not to. I'm not trying to. I'm like,
answer that question.
I did the same thing. I kept the journals. So it's like the little S's would be like, we did it, Joe. We did it.
Exactly. And then she'd be like, and look at like the friends that you accumulated. Cool new film you did. You guys are so cute together.
It's a dream come true.